And so it begins. Dark were the skies and chill was the wind as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did cry out for a saviour, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shimmering metal from head to toe. Wielding a terrible broadsword, he did cleave his foes in twain, smashing their ranks asunder with a righteous fury. When the day was done, and the enemy strewn across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and say, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic. One man, one Murloc, many more shows to come. This is Blue Plz. It begins now. Yes, indeed, folks. Welcome to Blue Plz here for the last time on WoW Radio for the 29th of January 2010. My name is TotalBiscuit, and we have come to the end, and, of course, to a new beginning. If you have not been paying attention for the past month or so, if you've been living under a rock, you are foolish. Needless to say, you are incredibly foolish. WoW Radio is coming to a close on the 1st of February. We are, after 6 years of broadcasting, closing our doors to open 3 new doors to 3 different sites. I myself am moving to cynicalbrit.com, bringing with me Blue Plz, gaming the system, and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5! Yes, 5 extra shows per week in the form of Gaming Express, and probably more if I feel like it. Oh yeah! We've got a bunch of people moving over to Original Media for Gamers, who have recently launched their site over at omfg.fm. And, of course, last, but by no means least, the mighty big hitters of WoW Radio, 2 of the most popular shows ever to grace our airwaves, Octel and Hordak versus the world in Casually Hardcore, moving over to vtwproductions.com. Is this good for you? This is good for you. I can tell you that for a fact. It means more shows, it means better websites, it means more money invested into making the shows good. I'll tell you, it's been quite the ride, and I'll be reminiscing a lot more later on in the show, I can guarantee that. But what I will say is, it ain't over. Blue Plz will continue. This is the last in Season 3. That means Season 4 will be starting next week. Yes, it's entirely arbitrary. But it's good. We likes it. It'll be fun. If you want to go check out cynicalbrit.com or cynicalbrit.com, whichever you prefer, we've got like 10 different domain names, you will see there Blue Plz episodes. That is how everything is going to be set out in future. Much nicer, much easier to read, links, ratings, comment system. It's all good. Streaming live from the website at the moment as well, testing Cynical Brit's Shoutcast servers, which appear to be holding up remarkably well. If you want to help stress test, you can do so. We've got a little beta player up right now. This is not how it's going to look on the 1st of February. It's going to be on the front page. But if you want to go check this out, go to cynicalbrit.com/listen-live. cynicalbrit.com/listen-live if you're listening to the live stream. Just a little bit of a test page there to make sure that it's running, and it would appear to be. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. It's kind of sad to see the site finally come to a close, but I think it's coming to a close in a much more dignified manner than it could have, let me put it that way. There's so many times over the past 6 years that the site could have very well and almost did implode in on itself. In a storm of drama and nuclear fire. Did it? No, it did not. Kept going by the hard work of its staff. and, of course, the tireless support of its listener base, WoW Radio will stand as one of the most, if not the most popular gaming shoutcast station of all time. Yes, indeed it will. And we wish every success to not only my site, of course, but to the guys over at OMFG and VTW Productions, who will no doubt do a fantastic job carrying on the torch and the legacy of 6 years of quality broadcasting. That's quite enough of that. What have I got coming up for you in the show today, folks? Oh, I can tell you. So, entitled casuals are a theme of this show, as you might have guessed. If you've just started tuning into the show, this is a loud, proud, and thoroughly arrogant shock jock show about World of Warcraft. If that does not sound like something you will enjoy, then you can chicken out. You can slink back to your corner, if you so wish. Go back to happy, lovey cuddle land. It's full of kittens and flowers and nothing that could possibly offend you. How incredibly boring. Alternatively, you could stick around and see if perhaps my dulcet tones may be soothing, or perhaps invigorating. Maybe they will anger you, provoke some kind of emotional response. How crazy would that be? We shall see. So I found an interesting website. It was a guild recruitment website, and they had a thread on there which signifies everything that's wrong with the attitude of the player base today. And I'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. I'll be keeping them anonymous just for the sake of their dignity. The guild didn't do anything wrong, but hey. I've been requested to do so, so I shall in fact do so. Also, we'll be reminiscing, folks. My memories over the past 5 or so years, coming up a little bit later on in the show. And a question, do Blizzard hate 10-man guilds? Well, according to the US forums, yes, they do. According to TotalBiscuit, the US forums are full of morons. We shall cover that a little bit later on in the show. And your chance to contribute to the show, it is the illusion choice. And rather than emailing your topics in, I would like you to email your favorite WoW Radio moments, your favorite WoW Radio memories from the past 6 years. Email them to themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Oh yeah, that's what you should be doing, folks. Get them in for the end of the show, and we shall read them out at the end. It'll be good. Right. Well, I think we've wasted enough time already, folks. None of this soppy nonsense. We have a show to do. It's time for this. What? Play, damn it!
That sounds like it's mail time. Here's the mail.
It never fails.
It makes me want to wag my tail.
When it comes,
I want to wail.
Oh, yes, it is mail time. It's time where we read the mail, and perhaps we sing the mail. It may happen. We could. It goes something like this. Dear TB, first let me thank you for the great show you put up every week. No, let's not do that. It's from Barth the Dwarf, France, who I assume is in France, one would think, unless it's some kind of clever deception. Dear TB! Dear TB. You see, I prefer my most hated enemy, TotalBiscuit. Or the person I loathe more than anyone in the world, TotalBiscuit. Or the guy I somehow cannot stop listening to, despite the fact that I despise him with every fibre of my being, TotalBiscuit. It's the kind of attitude we're looking to evoke here on this show. First, let me thank you for the great show you put up every week. This is really a great pleasure to hear, and I'm greatly looking forward to hearing it. Okay. I would like your opinion on an issue that is somewhat general, but reaches a climax when it comes to tanks. I recently leveled the Dwarf Warrior tank. Shame on me, I usually play Horde. Yeah, so this is entirely your fault. You have to understand this. If you roll Alliance, expect pain and suffering. Anyway, and when he reached 80, after getting all the tanking blues I could from normals, I started doing random heroics in order to get some gear. However, there was not a single heroic in which someone would not make an unwitty comment about my HP. Though these overgeared DPS could not take aggro from me, however hard they tried. Apart from being sick of that, I believe that most people have become spoiled kids who do not realise that 25 HP unbuffed is way more than enough to tank a usual heroic dungeon. I would appreciate your point on that if you please. Secondly, can I have a shout out to my guild, the Knights of Days, and GM Sharpish on Moonglade EU for trying and setting up a guild for people living in Asia, and therefore setting raids at odd hours. All players in Asia and Japan, feel free to contact us. Ooh, free recruitment ad, there you go, see, I'm feeling very generous today. Oh, yes. Right. with tanks, it's interesting, yeah? Because I've always been an advocate, as you heard last week, and this got a couple of people riled up. I do say a couple of people. That if you drag a heroic group down, you deserve to be kicked out. Yeah? And my justification for that is that if you're dragging a heroic group down, then you yourself are griefing that group. You are. You are wasting their time. If you are not performing to the peak of your potential, and bear in mind, this is what a lot of this is about. This is not about people who are undergeared and just getting started. This is about people who just suck in general. This is about guys in gear that is capable of easily 2.5 to 3k DPS, doing less than 1k DPS. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about. Those people deserve to get griefed. They deserve to be kicked out of the group. Why? Because 4 greater than 1. The opinion of 4 and the experience of 4 and the enjoyment of 4 is far, far, far more important, ladies and gentlemen, than the experience of one entitled whining baby that cannot and will not do his best for the good of the group. Tanks, however, are a little bit different. Now, here's why. One, you've got a tank shortage, so tanks are more desirable. You're in a position right now whereby you get to get into a heroic group straight away, and you get certain allowances, because, hey, you're rare. Now, second point is that tanking is a binary state. Yeah? Either you can tank everything, or you can't. Yeah? Either you have aggro, or you don't. Now, with DPS, it's a different matter entirely. DPS is not a binary state. It's not you are doing enough DPS or you are not. It is how much DPS am I doing right now? Because the more DPS I'm doing, the more effective the group becomes and the faster the instance gets done. It is my duty to do as much DPS as humanly possible, which is why I push it in random heroic groups. Mainly it's to show everyone else up, honestly. It's a little bit about the EP. I wave it around. Give it a little bit of air. It's very important. You should take care of it. Say, hey, look at me, I'm doing 52% of the DPS in this group. Reminds me of that, Heroic Hall Reflection group that I got into a couple of weeks ago, whereby I was literally doing 52% of the DPS on the chase. And indeed, because of me, we beat it. Whereas, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have, because those guys sucked. 2 to 2.5k, rubbish. So, for a DPS, it always matters that you're pushing harder and harder. For a tank, it doesn't. Tank, it's either you tank it or you don't tank it. If you can hold the aggro against the DPS, that is all that is required of you. So that means it doesn't matter if you've got 25k HP or 55k HP. If you're generating however much threat per second, I don't even know how much it is, but lots of threat per second or little threat per second, as long as you are generating enough to keep yourself alive and to keep the mobs off the rest of the group. Now, I can understand maybe some arguments of healers whining, he's got no HP, he's hard to heal. Oh, well, grow up. That's your job. It's as simple as that. It's your job to heal it. If it's going to be a little bit harder to heal, then tough. Consider it a challenge, healers. It's understandable. You do see the elitism. But, to be honest, with tanks, I don't think it's acceptable. Whether or not anyone's going to pay attention to that, well, hey, no, I don't think so, to be quite honest. But there you go. Right, we have another email here that I'd like to cover just before the break. See if we can find it, dig it out. There we go. It's one of these. I don't know why people think that I'm some kind of agony ant for World of Warcraft, but apparently I am. So claim these people. They keep asking for advice. I should hand them over to the Murloc. Hey TB, just wanted to get your opinion on an issue me and my friend ended up arguing about. I recently got to level 80 and I'm slowly progressing into my endgame experience. Luckily, I have friends already playing who have given me great guidance on how to gain enough DPS and pull my weight. That's another one of these heroic ones, isn't it? In heroics and general endgame, you often come across either silent or obnoxious newbies who complain and act all entitled to the content, despite having the skill levels of a potato. What I'd like to ask is this: how could someone who's getting into endgame for the first time without benefit of experienced friends get better at endgame dungeons and raiding? When someone doesn't know what they're doing in a dungeon, the tolerance is often low and they either get vote kicked or ignored. What are your opinions? Okay, here's the thing. Heroics, this shouldn't be the case, but it is. The vast majority of heroics are actually easier than leveling dungeons. Yeah? They have less complex mechanics to deal with, and the pulls are easier. So if you rushed from 1 to 80 and didn't do any dungeons, then, quite frankly, you shouldn't be in any. Yeah? You are not using the tools that are available to you. But if you have done the leveling dungeons, you should be able to cope with heroics. If you want to go look at the tactics, by all means, that really should be what you're doing anyway. If you're going into a dungeon, you should be familiar with what's going on. There are resources on the internet. I shouldn't have to tell you what they are, but just in the off chance that you don't know, bosskillers.com, wowwiki.com, wowhead.com, they've all got information on how to do every single dungeon in the game. It's very easy. Go watch some videos if you really need to. Most of the time you do not. Now, if you understand that, and you understand the basic principles behind dungeons, which you should if you've leveled up properly, then I do not see the issue. Gear becomes a factor. There's no doubt about that. Some people are going to react badly to you having bad gear. I'm probably going to be one of them. It depends. If you are blatantly doing terrible DPS, because people can do 2k DPS in greens, honestly. And I'm okay with 2k DPS. But if you're doing less than that, and you're not playing your class properly, then that's not excusable. That's not about, oh, well, I haven't done 100 heroics and I don't have tier 9. That's about you aren't playing your class properly and you've had 80 levels to learn how to do it. Now, of course, having friends helps, and I would recommend to everyone to get a guild. If you haven't already, if you're just entering the game, look for a leveling guild. For God's sake, they will help you. Read the new player forums. Read the guides. Educate yourself and try and group with other people, because that's what this game is all about. If you get to 80 and all you've been doing is soloing and not interacting with anyone, not only are you going to be socially inept, but you are going to be dungeon inept. You are not going to be able to perform well in a dungeon because you have no experience whatsoever with dealing with group content. And that's what the endgame is all about. If you want to be a loner, endgame is not for you. That's why so many loners are alcoholics. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Blue Plz for the final time on WoW Radio before the move to cynicalbrit.com. The next track has plenty of strong language. You have been warned. The winner of WoW Idol 2009, The Mighty Fatty with Nerdcore. Enjoy.
Bitch, I wear plate, I was made to be pounded. You found it surprising the rate you were dying. Don't bother lying, I know you were trying. You more new, but there's no use in crying. You may be undead, but you ain't that defiant. Fall out and say your best rap, only you level your rap. Exalted comes next to that. Next time you go AFK and run around for your day. I'm breaking fine, time to play a net. If ever you act low, yo, I got your back, bro. Petty always attacks and that. We killing in ill text, every kid in the guild has blood to be spilled, cause that's man, fuck street cred. I got elites be geek cred, elites that we drag, you loot like good head. You're better off dead, running back from the graveyard. If we bump heads, I'm leaving your face scarred. Enough with the race card, the horde hates gnomes. You got knees where our face are and you still can't own. Notorious poor and you know you ain't tough. You cows are so pussy that you're thunder mock. Utterly useless, and no one refutes this. Your head pointed at itself, shouted out, shoot this. The truth is, even you know that you're lame. Cattle in battle, that don't belong in the game. Oh, now you're a mad cow, don't like Betty Mac now. Bovine inspiration for just laying the smack down. Put your hats down, you can't clown me. These killies are my homies from real life that surround me. I'm a proud G, and O to the M. pushing up daisies, uninstalled a patch and just go back to the dailies. I ain't talking trash, but the witch rat gave me insomnia and only digging could save me. I was making the GM to crash the realm, so I couldn't spend a G on an F account. Like, what the hell, man? I need sleep. My boss keeps calling. I ain't locked in a week. Man, showing up for what should be a feat of strength. Another 50 points in the achievement bank. And I got you to thank for recruiting a friend. I got no food in my fridge. I got no money to spend. If I can't pay my rent, they'll evict my ass. But I just hit lieutenant up in Wintergrass. And I can't leave WoW alone. The game needs me. I belong to the guild. I hope my wife don't leave me. Say you got struggle, then you love what you wreck. Exalted comes next to that. Next time you go AFK, run around for your day. I'll break your fine time to play in that. If ever you act wrong, yo, I got your back. Bro, Fatty always attacks and then we kill it in ill takes. Every kid in the guild has blood to be spilled, cause that's if ever you act wrong, yo, I got your back. Bro, Fatty always attacks and then we kill it in ill takes. Every kid in the guild has blood to be spilled, cause that's if ever you act wrong, yo, I got your back. Bro, Fatty always attacks and then we kill it in ill takes. Every kid in the guild has blood to be spilled, cause that's nerdcore.
So yeah, I'm pretty quiet on Vent, you know? Kinda laid back.
Oh my god, you noobs! DPS the end!
Just like to chill out, kick back, relax, raid with my friends. No worries, no stress.
How is that even possible? Are you 7 different shades of stupid? Move out of the fire!
It's important to make sure my orders come through loud and clear. I'm a bit, well, shy. I'm not particularly loud or anything. My last event server was really poor quality.
Tank it, for heaven's sakes! Tank it! How can you be so monumentally freaking terrible?
Well, I discovered UGT Ventrilo servers. Amazing quality, great prices, and they're so reliable. Pretty much perfect in every way. I mean, I was a pretty calm guy before, now I've got even less reasons to worry.
Why? Why do I raid with you people?
Why not get one of your own? UGTservers.com. That's UGTservers.com. You'll be glad that you did. It's really helped me find my zen, you know? Yes, indeed, folks. You'll be glad to hear that UGT Servers is coming with me to the cynicalbrit.com, and there'll be brand new ads for you. Yes, I believe we promised them one new one a month. So I'll be stretching the comedy muscles or attempting to come up with a bunch of lame WoW jokes in order to sell Ventrilo servers. It works, folks. It is incredibly effective. That's because UGT Ventrilo servers are incredibly effective. Nah, I'm a shill, but I'm a very honest shill. There's nothing wrong with our UGT server. If you want to come and maybe check it out, it's the Cynical Brit server now, vent2.ugt-servers.com. Port is 10024. And the password, I honestly can't quite remember. It's on the front page of wcradio.com for the time being. We'll have an interface on our page, no doubt, within the next couple of days. Yes, it's WC Radio. That. Actually, WC Radio Vent. It's weird spelling. You can see it on the front page. It's good stuff. Go interact with people. Go be social. You know you want to. We have a bunch of reasonably good people in there and a couple of people that, quite frankly, need to be banned. But, you know. It's a mixed community, what can I say? So we've got plenty of emails coming in for this topic here. So I'm going to read a couple of them because there's going to be way too many for the last 15 minutes of the show. So I'll spread these across. Break one of my cardinal rules. There's one here from Kraken Zero. Badge please is my favourite WoW Radio moment. Need I say more? I enjoyed that show. That was a good vent. That was literally, what, 45 minutes of anger? Yeah, I had fun. This one from Steve's from Cadgal. My favourite moment on WoW Radio would have to be the badge, please. Wait a minute. It was really funny at the same time, so true. Well done on that and all episodes. Look forward to seeing your new site. And a double thank you from me and my best mate Looper for putting out your time to do these shows for us. No problem at all. The best moment from True Light on Scenarios was your proposal to Jen on air and the show when Gwenora reappeared on Casually Hardcore pretending he was a drop-in. To be fair, I thought Gwenora was a drop-in. Last time I checked it anyway. What else have we got? To the person I hate more than Hitler. There we go. See, you're getting the idea, Lil Rex. Dear TB, I've only been listening to Blue Plz for a little over a year, but my favourite moment has to be the song that you wrote for the May the 1st show. As for your rants, they are also epic. I can't pick a single moment that was better than the others. I will follow you to the ends of the earth. That's creepy. Don't do that. I'll have to get a restraining order. That's from Little Rex. We'll do one more, then we'll go to the next topic. I hate TotalBiscuit. Yeah! There we go. Haha, not really. Oh. Well, the best of times was the first time I started playing... Oh, wait a minute. No. You're doing it wrong. You're supposed to have the best times of WoW Radio, not WoW. Nobody cares about that. Ah, you're hopeless. I hate you more than you hate me, I can guarantee it. From Vezala Takov, my favourite WoW Radio moment was the first time I heard of it. It was on a YouTube video called Kungan. There was actually a no-cake news about Kungan speaking to a raid, and it was hilarious. Good luck with the new site from your Bulgarian fan compression. Hey, Bulgaria. Cool. Awesome. Right, okay, there's plenty more where they came from, and you can continue to email them in as the show goes along to themurloc@gmail.com. Your favourite WoW Radio moments. Share them with the audience today. Right. In the meantime, we've got content to do, so let's get on with it. Now, I have decided to keep this one anonymous because someone asked me to, and I believe they were from the guild in question. So that's cool, but the message still counts. So I was browsing the forums at one point when I noticed an interesting link. And this link led me to a particular guild site. And on this guild forum, there was a guild recruitment forum, as you tend to find. And in the guild recruitment forum, what did we find but a swarm of angry bees? And also a really bad application. Yes, indeed, folks. Why am I talking about a really bad application? Because it illustrates a point very nicely. Now, he's since edited this after being lambasted by the entire guild. But it illustrates a nice point. So, this guy applies to a guild. And this guild calls themselves a casual guild. But, like many casual guilds, they don't muck about. Some people seem to be of the belief that casual means that they will accept any old bull... You know what? Screw it. It's the last show. So, if you don't like swearing, tune out now. They will accept any old bullshit from any old twat that decides to come along. Terrible, isn't it? Absolutely 110% atrocious. But in this case, no, they did not. Because, hey, they, ladies and gentlemen, are a reasonable casual guild. There are two kinds of casuals. You've got your mild, moderate, and indeed silent majority of casual players who are perfectly reasonable people. And then you've got the vocal minority of entitled casual players who make everyone else look bad by comparison. Indeed. Terrible. Now, the gist of this guy's post was he was trying to apply for the guild. He didn't bother to use any punctuation whatsoever. It was all in lowercase, and it didn't provide any of the information that they asked for. And replies came thick and fast. Someone posted a line of punctuation marks and said, add those somewhere between your lines, they're free. He replied, of course, sorry, I don't have the best of grammar, I gave it my best shot. Really? Is that your best shot? Now, there's many other replies here, and these come from the guild leaders. We've got one here. For your application to be seriously considered, we rather insist on our members being able to write at least half decently. While we might be a little more lax in our guild chat or in our private guild forums, we do frown upon an application written in this fashion. Since an application is essentially our basis for a first impression, just as it would be if you're applying for a job, I'm going to be frank with you and say that on the basis of those 4 lines of text, your chances of getting in are 0. However, we realize that not everyone sees the read this first in big capital letters topic that is stickied and announced at the top of the screen in this recruitment subforum. So we do offer people a chance to rewrite their application if they so wish. So click on the link, read the topic and hit that edit button. And tell us why you would be good for the guild. And there's plenty more stuff where that came from. However, there are two kinds of people, ladies and gentlemen. There are the reasonable and there are the unreasonable. The unreasonable are the people that freak out when confronted by constructive criticism. And freak out and get all defensive when they are told that their way is not the way to go. So the reply of this fellow, here it goes. I'm sorry, with 1 R, but a person's spelling and grammar has no effect on the skill in game and rating, and also this is like me saying to someone not from England on Vent that I cannot understand them because their English is too bad. And then, here's the best thing, he posted again, yes, he double posted, within the course over 2 minutes to say, also, as a casual guild, I wouldn't think you would judge people by how they spell, as long as they are nice, respect your guild rules, and friendly and casual people. Okay, first things first. Guild rules include writing an application that sounds like it was written by someone over the age of 5. In fact, I would put good money on my 6-year-old child being able to write a better application than this guy. Using bigger words and more punctuation, and it would be glorious, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it would. He'd get into that guild, that I can guarantee. He doesn't even play World of Warcraft. He'd get in, this guy doesn't. Oh, yes, and a fantastic response straight after that by one of the guilds is, of course, perfectly spelled. You're right, being defensive and questioning our recruitment requirements is a surefire way to earn brownie points. Yeah, I don't need to really go on. I might mention a couple more of the posts a little bit later on, but you get the gist of it. So this guy writes a terrible app, and his response is absolutely abysmal. And it is. Now here's the real nasty bit at the end. Here's the total misconception that seems to have spread all over the World of Warcraft community. And it's his last response that I will read right now. And he says, sorry, I would like to cancel my application to your guild, as it seems to me that this is a hardcore way to go about things. Thanks for looking at my application, but the way you want my application is like applying for a job. Sorry, bear in mind there's absolutely no full stops in any of this. This is one great long sentence. So, if I was going to read it in the style of this guy, it would go something like this. So, excuse me while I breathe very deeply. Sorry, I would like to cancel my application to your guild, as this seems to me a hardcore way about going things. Thanks for looking at my crappy application with bad spelling and grammar, but the way you want my application is like applying for a job. Sorry, I'm not applying for a job. I'm applying to a supposed casual guild for fun and enjoyment for a game I pay for. Goodbye and have fun. Also, your spelling isn't the best on most things you have written to me. Go back and check for yourself. Yeah. Wow. You know, it's like talking to an Elcor. That's a Mass Effect joke, folks. I'll be here all week. Try the veal, or indeed the fish in the Presidium's lakes. So, it's like, because you require an application, you are a hardcore guild. And this is a hardcore way of going about things. And using hardcore is like it's a dirty word. Oh, this is a hardcore way of going. Like it's an insult of some respect. It's like the same thing with elitism, and yet elitism at least has a tiny little bit of justification for being classified as something bad, regardless of the fact that the dictionary definition of the word, of course, is actually quite positive. It's about being superior. It's about being better. What's wrong with that? When did being better, being superior, suddenly become some kind of curse? Some kind of stigma? When? Oh, blow up the planet if that's going to be the way that we go, because we'll never get anywhere. No, don't strive, folks. No, be subpar. Don't worry, it'll become easier and easier to be subpar, because the par, of course, will be gradually lowered, because the average level of the human race is bloody awful. It's disgusting. If I could breathe fire on these people, I would. In the meantime, I'll just have to do a podcast. It's equally threatening. Hardcore is such a bad word, isn't it? What really defines a hardcore guild? I'm pretty sure it's not defined by the fact that you have an application process. That's not what defines a hardcore guild. That's what defines a good guild. It doesn't even have to be good. It shows that the members are looking to be careful with who they bring into their social group. And there are plenty of organizations, some close to home, some far away, some recently formed, some that have been around for ages, that are not careful with who they bring in. No, it's true. They will literally bring in anything and anyone on the basis of nothing in particular. They don't realize how they would interact with the other people in the group. They don't really realize or indeed care about how much trouble those people might end up being. Yes, indeed. Those people could cause drama. Those people could screw things up. Those people could be manipulative. Those people could be unpleasant to be around. They could be there to cause trouble, push their own agendas. And they don't consider that. Because that would be ridiculous. Because it would be too hardcore. It would be too strict, too elitist. We've got too many rules and regulations here, folks. It's too hardcore. It's not friendly enough. So let's just bring in everyone we possibly can and see what happens. Just throw them all into the pot. I'm sure it'll be fine. And organizations like that do not do very well. Which is why it's a terrible idea for a guild to do that. Which is why you have rules, which is why you have standards and applications, and you adhere to them. Both yourself and you ensure that they are adhered to by everybody else. You enforce them. You don't have to shout at people, although I do, and it seems to work fine. But you do not have to shout at people. You've just got to enforce rules which are good for everybody. And that includes making sure that your application is a good way of determining how someone's going to fit. And that's the responsibility of both the guild, to have a rigid enough application process to weed out people who will not do very well. And it's also about making sure that you as a potential guild member are putting in the effort. My guild application is like a novel, because I thought putting in the effort and being very detailed is what guilds want. You know what? It's got me to every guild that I've applied to. Simple as that, both casual and hardcore. It impresses people to know that I want to be in your guild enough. Yeah, I want it bad enough that I will willingly go out of my way to write something that took me time. And it did. It took me time to do it. But if you're not spending time, then why? Why should I believe that you will turn up to a raid? It doesn't matter if you're a casual guild that just does one raid a week, or a hardcore guild that raids 5 to 6 times a week. What matters is that I, as a guild leader, can rely on you to be there and do your best. This is how I run my guild. We raid twice a week. We raid for 7 hours a week total. It's casual friendly, folks, but I require people to be there and bring their A game. It's not mutually exclusive. Casual does not mean bad. And if you ever approach an organization like that and they accept that, then that is not an organization that you want to be in. Because I know casual players, they are all around. There are so many of them. The vast majority of people playing WoW are, quote, casual players, but only the vocal minority are entitled casuals that don't care. They have standards, folks, these casual players. They have standards just like hardcore players do. They might be a little different, they might be a little more relaxed, but that doesn't mean they don't have them. And it is insulting to any guild to write a terrible application like that. And I hope against hope, that this guy does not get into any reasonable guild and learns the price of his own laziness. Sadly, positive discrimination and indeed incentivizing, bringing in, it's like, oh, it's okay, we'll let you in, we'll help you along. Doesn't make people better. Only the stick, folks. Only the stick. My name is TotalBiscuit, you are listening to Blue Plz for the last time on WCURadio.com, moving over to CynicalBrit.com come next week with the start of Season 4. Sounds good. Gonna be fun. Rhapsody, folks. Emerald Sword, a classic of the Blue Plz pre-show. You love it. Enjoy. You are listening to the podcast, an archive of Blue Plz. Music was removed to comply with copyright law. If you'd like to hear the music, tune into the live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 3 p.m. EST, only on CynicalBrit.com. You are listening to Blue Plz here on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. Yes, indeed you are. So I want to do some reminiscing, folks. Yes, I do. But first, I would like to read a couple more of these emails. Got loads more coming in, so by all means, feel free to send yours into themurloc@gmail.com, your favorite WoW Radio moments. And what I can say, exclusive announcement, ladies and gentlemen. This will not be the final show that I do on WoW Radio. Ooh, no. There's a man you may remember. Oh, yeah. That man goes by the name of Athelus, and he is going to be around. And he's going to be around on the Sunday. And he's going to be around for perhaps the final show of WoW Radio. and I'm going to be on the air with him. Oh yes. Now I need to confirm the time with him, and I should be able to do so, hopefully before the end of the show. But myself and Athelis will be having a powwow on the air on Sunday to give the old girl a grand send-off, which hopefully you guys should enjoy very much. And I can confirm, the time will be directly after Octel and Hordak versus the World, so that's 9 PM, I believe, oh god, I hope I'm right, GMT, as 4 PM Eastern Standard, the final show of WoW Radio, myself and Athelis. Okay, so, reminiscing, we've got lots more stuff coming in here. Spawn from Arithmetha. The best moment was when you went off about old WoW and how in the good old days we had to deal with invisible man-eating crabs. Yeah, I tend to lose my mind at times. It's just the effect the show has. Hey TB, this is from Vivimord, level 80 Rogue and Kilrog EU. My most epic and hilarious moment with WoW Radio was when you did part 1 of the Kongan Nubcake News. I was listening to the show live, which also happened to be my first show I listened to on WoW Radio, was attempting to level my Rogue and STV. However, I was failing miserably due to the tears of laughter rolling from my eyes. All the while, my friend behind me was also finding it hard to talk due to laughing so much. Thanks for the great memories, and let's hope the show and the future is even shinier than the past. I certainly hope so. Yeah, man, that got listened to by so many people. I think it had easily over 100,000 downloads, that one. Yep. A crowning moment in complete stupidity. This one's from Heath. I just wanted to email and say that your show and your network has helped me deal with my depression over the past 4 years and has outperformed any other crutch. During a very dark period towards the end of last year, your work along with the staff was my only constant. Well, I hope you are getting out of that, quite frankly. Be positive, be better. You can, in fact, do anything as long as you are stubborn enough and smash your head up against it enough times. It's worked for me, so it works for everyone as far as I'm concerned. Dear hated TB. Oh yeah, he's getting the idea. I must say the best moment of Blue Plz was that time when you were wrong. Those were the days. Yeah, the thing is that never happened. I mean, that's entirely fictional. Bear in mind, this is from Onin, the guy who doesn't know the arcane rotation, and the guy who has terrible musical taste. So I don't think we can really trust his opinion. It's hardly a professional or expert witness. In fact, I would hold him in contempt of this particular court. This one is from Laitiano, level 80, Holy Human Priest, Akramar EU. I loved your giant rant about liquid pyrite and giant man-eating crabs. Yes, so we've got popularity of the crabs and the badgers right now, so if we made an entire show about crab badgers, it would be the most popular and successful show ever made. Don't give me ideas. My favourite WoW Radio moment would be one of your vendor strike shows where you rant about the puppy training boss encounter for the new Blackwing Descent raid in Cataclysm. I don't even remember that. That's obviously how good it was. This one's from Necrotics, Death Knight of Ravenholt EU. Hey TB, I could insert some witty comment about how I hate you, but I would be lying, hence I'll leave it up to you. Okay, I hate you, Necrotics, and everything you stand for. I believe my favourite moment of WoW Radio was back in the days of TBC. I believe I was in Mount Hydel at the time, healing, and I found the site during a wipe cleanup. Can't remember the show, I was listening so intently, I ended up wiping the raid not once, but twice! Not one, but two, you say? Yes, quite. He stopped healing. What a fool. Yeah, I'll read some more out later on, folks. Keep them coming. themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Right, so there's a few things I'd love to cover. I'd just like to talk a little bit about how things have been going in the last 5 years. I've already talked about my reasons for leaving, but I'd like to tell you my reasons for staying over the past 5 years. I've always thought that live broadcasting is the most exciting and energetic way of presenting ideas to people. That's why the rise of podcasting to me was quite depressing, and indeed still is. You'll be aware that live shoutcasting was effectively dead on arrival, and you can thank, if you wish, lobbyists and the RIAA for the unpleasant legislation that caused, if you do not know, royalty rates for shoutcast stations to be 300% higher than terrestrial radio, and a bunch of other restrictions which basically meant that shoutcasting was stillborn, which is incredibly sad to me. Podcasting came about and that was successful, but hey, shoutcasting never really got going. But that doesn't mean that I do not intend to continue doing it, because it's the best way Yes, indeed, it is the best way to present ideas. And this is more than anything why we try to continue to keep a station going. It's very easy to run your own podcast. You can get a copy of Audacity, a $5 microphone, and a Libsyn account. It won't sound very good, but you can do it. Setting up a Shoutcast streaming station for multiple shows with massive amounts of bandwidth, that's difficult. That takes a lot of investment, that takes a lot of money, as to the fact that WoW Radio has not turned a profit effectively any time. The vast majority of the time we've been having to supplement it with donations and money out of our own pockets. Anyone that's under the impression, I'd like to answer this accusation, because for some reason people have this crazy impression that we ever got enough money to embezzle and do stupid things with is absurd, honestly. And people that believe that never realize how much it costs to actually run a site like this. I'm impressed that we managed to keep it going so long, and it is in part thanks to the generosity of the listeners. We never ran this for profit, we ran it to entertain people, and that is what it did. It was not the most efficient way of doing it, but it was entertaining for people for the time, and a great community arose and formulated around this site. It's good, and I enjoyed it very much. There have been times when I've just wanted to leave, honestly, over the past 5 or so years. The problem with having a lot of people together this way, and it being a volunteer organisation, is that you run into issues with how people think that things should go along. You'll see that, say, sites like OMFG and VTW are going to be going a different way. Indeed, Cynical Brit's going a different way. It's not the same as how WoW Radio was operated or run. Everyone has their own opinion, and at some point, that opinion has to come to the fore instead of being bottled up. And sometimes people can't accept that their opinion is maybe either not the right one or just not the one that we wanted to run. There's been plenty of drama over the past 5 years, folks. We try to keep the vast majority of it away from you guys. Some of it's spilled over, some of it has indeed been stoked by members of the community. A very small... You know what, I'm not even going to call them members of the community. Those people, and they know who they are. There are certain pathetic individuals that have gone out of their way to cause trouble for the people who worked for this station. And you know what? I hate them more than any ex-staff member that tried to wreck the site or destroy the station or cause me or my fellow staff any issues. Because you know what? At least they had a little bit of justification for it. At least they worked hard, and if they got angry and if they got upset and decided to try and take it out, then at least they had a bit of justification for it. It's the listeners that didn't, you know? When you're being provided free content, what right do you have to screw with people's lives? That's what I have to wonder. Thankfully, 99.999% of people did not do that, and the community has been wonderful over the past 5 years. Oh yes. A lot of good memories. A lot of bad ones too. Stuff like BlizzCon 2005, very bittersweet memories there. It was very successful for what we did, but it was the first time that we really realized that Blizzard Entertainment, they weren't really out there for the fans. Let's be honest. They were out there for the people that were giving them a lot of money. And it's become that way. BlizzCon has become more and more commercialized, and of course we had last year where Blizzard completely screwed us and other fan sites over. And you know what? I will never forgive them for that. I would be lying, honestly, if I said that that was not one of the reasons that I decided to leave the station. Because you know what? Why on earth should I directly or indirectly support that kind of behavior? WoW Radio has always been named a fan site, and that's really unfortunate. We were part of the fan site program for a long time, and to be honest, I wished we weren't. I wish we were never part of the fan site program, because I'd have liked to have been known as a gaming station with a few World of Warcraft shows that was independent and well respected for that reason, and wasn't tied to Blizzard Entertainment. As what Blizzard Entertainment does reflects on us in a small way, but nonetheless a way that actually matters. It's very unfortunate. And being a fan site, even if you try not to be, you've got this certain attachment. Yeah? It's like a lost little puppy going to its abusive master, wagging its little tail, looking up with those beady eyes, the big blue beady eyes, and saying, "Hey, I'm here. Please pay attention to me, and don't do it with a rolled up newspaper or the end of your boot." And more often than not, unfortunately, it was with the end of the boot. It's unfortunate that Blizzard decided to go that way with their fan sites and not treat them with the respect that they deserved. And this goes to all of the fan sites, not just us. But hey, that's the way of it. And I suppose in a way I've got to thank them, because that made me and other people on staff realise that this is not what we should be doing. We should be going independent, and we should be succeeding on our own merits, and we shouldn't be tied to one particular game. It's a disservice to our listeners. Honestly, it is. It's a disservice to the listeners to be a fan site and be bound by fan site rules, as opposed to just being an independent podcast and saying what was on our mind. You know, I've always liked to think that we always spoke our mind as much as possible. I particularly did so, and incurred the wrath of Blizzard on more than one occasion for doing so. You know what? I don't give a fuck. Honestly. Never have, never will. But we try to respect their decisions at times. Say, for instance, the big hullabaloo over the alpha leaks. We promised not to do it. We sacrificed so much to do that. Traffic, potential traffic, sponsorship, money that was coming our way that could have helped grow the site. We didn't do it. Out of respect for Blizzard. What did we get back for it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So just a piece of advice for anyone that wants to do something. It's an enthusiast kind of thing. If you want to do an enthusiast podcast or production or anything like that, then don't get too close to your subject matter. Keep it at arm's length. Honestly. Bit of advice for young people. We've been burned enough times by Blizzard to realise that it's not a good idea. That doesn't mean to say that the last 5 years or 6 years or whatever you want to call it were without enjoyment. I think I've gotten so much out of being part of a great group of broadcasters and talented staff. And sure, some of them screwed me over. Some of them caused me drama and heartache. Some of them were passive-aggressive little bitches. But the vast majority of them, I would like to consider friends. And I wish them the very best of luck on their future travels. And I hope that as they cast off on their own in search of brave new worlds, they will do very, very well indeed. And they will be able to reach their full potential. I certainly hope so. I want to see them flourish and do incredibly well. And I'm sure their audiences do too. Don't think anyone would wish failure on such people. Not at all. Quite the opposite. But yeah, lots of things have happened. WoW Radio got me to another country. On multiple occasions, as it happens. WoW Radio allowed me to travel to various places in the world. WoW Radio got me a wife and son. That's a big deal. It really is. It's funny. Doing radio online has gotten me so many places and allowed me to meet so many great people. I don't think anyone could ever say that doing this was a waste of time. It isn't. It never is. The reaction of the listeners and the fact that you know that they think you're doing a good job, and if you're not, they'll tell you so you can improve your art and hone it to as fine a point as possible. It's so fulfilling. I hope to never quit. Honestly. I would like to broadcast until my dying day, just because it's great to have people listen to what you have to say and be entertained and informed by it. It's more fulfilling than anything else I can think of. And some people may say I'm narrow-minded. Some people may say I'm short-sighted. Some people may say that I should go and do something like, I don't know, go cure cancer or go donate to a charity. No, I like doing this. Other people like me doing this. And that is enough for me. It will continue on cynicalbrit.com, folks. And it will continue after the break, as we talk about whether or not Blizzard hates 10-man guilds. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Interesting. We shall see, folks. Here's another track from one of my friends, the winner of WoW Idol 2005. And the file has run away. God damn! It has disappeared. Haha! I know, however, where it is, so I've got to fill in the next 20 seconds with complete and total garbage. I can't really think of what to say, because you know what? I'm not used to spouting complete and total garbage. If you want complete and total garbage, there are other podcasts you could listen to, ladies and gentlemen. Winner of WoW Idol 2005. And the most talented of people. He is Daryl Brewer, and this is The Ganker. Enjoy.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, introducing the Warcraft champion of the world, the Ganker! I'm a level 60, you're a level 2. That's not gonna stop me from annihilating you. Well, everybody hates me, but you're envious inside. Sure, you'd love to kill me, but you know I'll skin your hide. 'Cause I'm the Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. Ha ha! 'Cause I'm the Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. You know it, baby, I'm the Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. I'm the Ganker and I'm coming for you. Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. Ha ha ha! How about verse 2? You better keep an eye out when you're in Ashenvale. The second that you see me, you'll start to scream at will. You might run pretty quickly, but my epic mount will fly. So please do me a favor, tell the spirit healer hi. 'Cause I'm the Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. I'm the Ganker and you're going down. The Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. You're next, baby. Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. You heard what I said, it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and I'm coming for you. You know it, you love it, and now it's time for what everybody's been waiting for. How about a little Ganker guitar solo? That's the way we do it, baby. And now, for the dramatic finale. Get ready. So you're in the Alliance, well I am in the Horde. Hope you don't mind if I see fit to cut your spinal cord. You know there's no escaping, and that may make you frown. But nobody is safe, you see, when the Ganker is in town. 'Cause I'm the Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. I'm the Ganker and I'm coming for you. Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. I'm the Ganker and I'm coming for you. Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you. I'm the Ganker, baby. Ganker, yeah, and I'm coming for you.
Yes, indeed, folks, you listen to Blue Plz for the last time on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. CynicalBrit.com is the place to go. Now, if you wondered why, if you're listening to the stream, that the site goes down, we just discovered that the server we have does a backup at exactly the same time that Blue Plz runs. Needless to say, we are getting that fixed, but it breaks the server while it's going on. Whoops! Okay, it's a good job we're still in beta. That'll be sorted out for next week, I can guarantee that. Right, so... always nice to check out the US forums every now and again. There's a couple of reasons for that. I actually like the US forums a lot better than the EU ones, mainly because they're not as whiny. But... because then they play a little bit fast and loose with the rules. As in, you can't say anything mean on the EU forums. Apparently it's against the rules to humiliate people. Oh no, humiliation! But on the US forums, they don't have a problem with that. And there's a lot more posters on there, so you get much bigger, cooler threads. So, there's one here that I find rather amusing, and I think it is an important topic to address. And it surrounds the recent release of information about a certain mount called Invincible. Now, before I go on, let me just say that any of you who are really concerned about Invincible need to seriously rethink your priorities. No, really, you do. It's a freaking mount. It's not even a very good one. Look at it. Just go look at it. If you're already in the IRC channel, I'm sure that Stormtamer will link you the under development images for this thing. Or perhaps the video on MMO Champion of Invincible. Go have a look at it. If not, head over to worldofwarcraft.com, Invincible Rising. You see the link, third one down. Have a look at it. It's a freaking horse. Guys, it's a horse. It's just a flying horse. That's all it is. It's not even that good a flying horse. It's a bloody flying horse. And you know what? People are getting up in arms about the flying horse. Why? We shall find out. Maddie Oaks of Core and Dentag US is annoyed. He is furious, ladies and gentlemen. Why does Blizz hate 10-man guilds, he asks. There are too many examples to list. We know it's true. I just wonder why. Yeah, this is what I love about the US forum posts. They're so much more lively than the EU. They come up with all these crazy assertions. It's like, here's the default position. We all know that Blizzard hates this class or this method of raiding, even though there's no evidence to prove that whatsoever. But of course, displayed as fact. Land of the free, ladies and gentlemen. Land of free speech, regardless of how stupid it happens to be. It's wonderful. I do love the US forums for that reason. At least they speak their mind, whereas on the EU forums, they're so bleeding heart and timid and disgusting. He asks, why not have good gear drop in 10-man raids also? Why not the good stuff for us? Right, okay. You idiot. Let me show you. Let's go on a trip, ladies and gentlemen, as we have so many times before, to Wowhead. Oh yes, Wowhead. Get on over there, ladies and gents. Now, you go to Wowhead, and you go to Database, and you go to Zones, and you go to Raids. Click that. Now, click on Icecrown Citadel. There you go. Now, at the top, you should see normal 10-man drops and normal 25-man drops. I would like you to scroll down to the item that I seem to have completely forgotten. Man, I've forgotten my own item. Yes, Frost Needle, its name. I have this weapon. It is an item level 251 sword, a caster sword that drops off of Lord Marrowgar. And it's reasonably statted, yes indeed. Go and have a look at the stats. Is it delicious? It is, as it happens. I like it, I think it's very, very nice. Now, I would like you to head on over after that to normal 25 drops. Now, I assume that there is an equivalent sword. Would I be correct in that assumption? I'm pretty sure I would be. So let's scroll through the items. It's not on page 1. Let's have a look at swords on page 2. There's one on page 2. We could look at that one. It's not the only one. But let's have a look at that one nonetheless. Bear in mind, this is from Professor Putricide. Yeah? And it is called Rigor Mortis. Yes, indeed, Rigor Mortis. Go and have a look at it. Go and have a look at the stats and do a comparison between this drop from Marrowgar 10, which, quite frankly, is incredibly easy, and Putricide 25, which is not. And look at the difference. The difference in item levels to start with is 13. Yes, 13 item levels difference. Now you say, TotalBiscuit, that's very odd. Really, is it? Let's look back to Nax, shall we? What is the item level difference, ladies and gentlemen, between 10-man and 25-man Nax gear? 200 and 213. Wait a minute, that's 13 item levels. I'm seeing a pattern here. Shocking, shocking, shocking. Yes, indeed. So, the difference between these, bearing in mind, of course, that Putricide is hard as hell and that loot should be better, is not that big. So, are you telling me, Mr. Paladin, Mr. Maddie Axe, that my Frost Needle is not good gear? Good stuff? No, it's good. It's perfectly fine. In fact, on some encounters, I'd say it's a little bit overkill. It's good equipment. It lets me do exactly what I need. That's the important thing. It is entirely suitable for the content I am doing. There's plenty more examples. Now, he goes on. Question, is the mount available in 10 and 25-man Heroic? Answer, Invincible will only be available in 25-man Heroic encounter with the Lich King. Why not make 10-man content just as hard as 25-man and give both the same rewards? Right, you dumbass. One, it's impossible. It is impossible. Completely and totally impossible to balance encounters so that somehow 10 and 25-man are equally difficult. 25-man, by its very nature, is harder. And some of you may turn around and say, TotalBiscuit, what are you talking about? Surely 10-man. All of the guys, there's no room for error with a 10-man. Yeah, you're right. But if you design your encounters properly, there can be no room for error in a 25-man either. And that's where it gets way more difficult, because coordinating 25 people not to stand in the fire is harder than coordinating 10 people to not stand in the fire. There's less potential for mistakes in a 10-man than there is in a 25-man. That is fact. And this is coming from a dedicated 10-man raider. I only raid 10-man these days. I used to raid 25. I only raid 10 now because I prefer the style. However, I accept that the encounters might not be as difficult. I accept that the loot will not be quite as good, and you know why? Because it's easier to get a 10-man group together than it is a 25, and it's easier to beat the content with 10 than it is for 25. That is a fact. And you're gonna have to accept that. We had an anomaly back in the day in the form of Sartharian 3 Drakes 10. No longer the case. That is not how they went. Yeah, sure, there are some 10-man hard modes that are maybe around the same difficulty, but it is the exception and not the rule. There is no attempt to balance the 10-man content to make it as hard as the 25-man, and there shouldn't be either. You have to accept this. There has got to be one of them being considered better than the other. It's just got to be the case. I made the argument back in the day that, hey, maybe we should have equivalency, but you've got to realize it's now impossible to reach this level of equivalency. And we're not even talking about something that matters here. That's the thing which really irks me. It's like, oh, well, why can't we have everything they have? Well, one thing, you can't have the mount drop from 10-man and 25-man. You want to know why? Because it's 100% drop rate. That's the point. It's 100% drop rate, just like the Mimiron's head from a particular hard mode. And that means that you can get 2 people in your guild a week this mount instead of 1, because of course 10-man, 25-man, you get extra loot. Why not give us the same loot? Because you get extra of it in 10-man, and that would be ridiculous. Why raid 25-man if 10 gives the same loot, and if 10 gives you more opportunities to get nice little things like mounts? Why would you do it? You probably wouldn't. A lot of people will take the path of least resistance. They already have. 10-mans are easier to get together than 25s. Some people like 10-man raiding, some people like 25, but you don't want people to abandon the idea that 25-man is what you should aspire to if you are really serious about raiding. Or if you have enough people. If you want to be part of something a little bit more epic. Yes, I did just say epic. If you want that, then 25-man raiding is the way to go. There are mounts available from 10-man, as there have been through the entire expansion. And you know how? Yes, they come in the form of the achievements that are tied into those. The Glory of the Raider, Glory of the Ulduar Raider, Trials of the whatever it is, Secrets of Ulduar, things like that. It's all there, and they both have 10 and 25-man level rewards. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There's one for Ice Crown as well, and you get a Frostworm that is a different kind of Frostworm to the 25-man. So what, you want the shiny mount? You want the stupid winged horse? The undead Pegasus? Likely to fall out of the sky at any moment? I can tell you for a fact that it is not airworthy. I would not fly and I would not have my tray tables in the upright and locked position where I fly on that bag of bones. And you've got to also understand that the value of nice, nifty items like that depreciates the more than they are. So you have to gate it. You have to ensure that not everyone has one, because otherwise, what's the point? It was the issue with, let's have a think, all these silly pets. The pug, yeah? And the little corehound pet. And the penguin. Stuff like that. Those pets, you barely see them. Really, you do. I walk around Oklahoma, I barely see those pets. One or two, maybe. You want to know why? Because everybody has them. They mean nothing. They are of no intrinsic value whatsoever as a direct result of that. The value depreciates the more people have them. The value of my Murky pet, for instance, because it's the only one on the server, that is huge. Both monetarily, I might add, and in terms of sentimental value. It's unique. That's what players want. Players want to distinguish themselves from others. They don't want to be the same as everybody else. They want to be special. Everyone wants to be the hero. And they have to do that in any way they possibly can. One of those ways is to have something unique. Having that mount is something unique. Not a lot of people have it, so it's cool to ride around on. It's a status symbol. It's used to become a status symbol if everyone drives one. Like, would Porsche cars be so special if everyone drove a Porsche? No, they become a baseline car. You might as well be driving around a Ford Fiesta. It makes it special because it's uncommon. That's the point. So no, not everyone gets it. Not everyone can have it, folks. That's just the way it goes. And you know what? You're gonna have to accept that. I know people sometimes whine and complain, but you have to accept it. Really, you do. My name is TotalBiscuit, and you are listening to Blue Plz here on WoW Radio. I will be back after the break with more of your emails for the illusion of choice. Oh, yes. There's something I've always wanted to play. I'm going to play this one. It's 1 Minute Silence. It is a more violent approach. It contains strong language. It's really fun. You know what? Because it reminds me of one of my first great MMO experiences. This was the soundtrack to one of my kill videos on PlanetSide. The Memories. And it was with the guild, the clan that I joined WoW with in the first place. The Memories. It's poignant, and it's entirely offensive. If you don't like that, tune out now. Enjoy. You are listening to the podcast, an archive of Blue Plz. Music was removed to comply with copyright law. If you'd like to hear the music, tune into the live stream on Fridays at 8 PM GMT. That's 3 PM EST, only on cynicalbrit.com. For the last time on WoW Radio, it's the illusion of choice. Taking your emails for the best WoW Radio moments. You have a little bit of time to email them in as I read them out to themurloc@gmail.com. That's themurloc@gmail.com. So let's get right on with it. There's a couple of things. I'll be doing shoutouts at the end of the show, and yes, shoutouts will continue on to Cynical Brit in Season 4. Oh yeah, that they will. I can guarantee it. And I've got a special surprise for you at the end, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Some of you are probably going to hate me for it. I'm entirely fine with that. Hey TB, you loudmouth scum! Best WC radio moment has to be TotalBiscuit. Whatever happened to him? I pushed him down a well. He was irksome, man. Have you ever tried a room with TotalBiscuit? I mean, for one thing, that guy owes me at least 100 British pounds. See, that's the result of TotalBiscuit's and TotalBiscuit's partnership. It didn't work. TotalBiscuit decided, hey, it will be entirely reasonable and neighborly. TotalBiscuit destroys things. You hear that crash in the background? TotalBiscuit's horrible DIY. I told him to go get a contractor. Did he listen? No, he didn't. Cowboy, DIY, horrible. Have a go, Harry, as they're calling them in the UK. You know what? You know what I hate about the UK? The fact that they can't come up with a decent name for anything. Have a go, Harry. Are you serious? Have a go, Harry. Sounds like a bloody children's pop-up book. Hey TB, the true lord of hate. P.S. I hate you. Yeah. Some alleged shadow of Misha US. My favourite part of Blue Plz would have to be all the times you did rapping the forums. It would be great if you did another one. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. That would be absolutely horrendous. Hey, TotalBiscuit, my favourite moment of the show had to be the backstory of the Murloc. It was very clever and I very much enjoyed it. I haven't been playing WoW very much lately, but I listen to your show every week because I enjoy listening to the ranting. I think it's funny that people get mad at you, daring to disagree with their opinion. OMG! It's amusing. Hope your new site is epic. It will be. That's from Valazi of Twisting Nether. And a shout out to the Rooks. Or the Rooks. Love you guys. Here's one from the Elite Hacksaw. Biscuitus Totalus Overlord of Anger. Or Overload of Anger, whichever you prefer. I like Overlord. My favourite moment of WoW Radio has to be the Block Rock Mountain Climbing Tower. By far the most superior vantage point of nubcake news journalism. It existed. People think I made this up. Back in 2005, at the BlizzCon, they had a Black Rock Mountain Climbing Tower. Yes, they did. They also had pugilism, which I assume was actually what they based their ideas for 2v2 arenas on. But yeah, the Black Rock Climbing Tower was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I don't think it actually made a return, but hey, I might be wrong. That's a topic for the illusion of choice. We're not going to read that, but what I will read is this from Mr. Tom Eric Rasmussen. My favourite moment of WoW Radio was the first weekend I listened to WoW Radio. A Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Just got onto WoW Radio and fell in love with the shows and the show hosts. Then I want to salute you for being very dedicated for the game, to a game, try it again, to a game that you from time to time don't even play. It's not the game that I'm dedicated to, it's the listener base. It could be any old game, it just happens that WoW is a treasure trove of antics and material for my particularly unpleasant stylings. And I want to salute you for that. But you take your time with making a show for your fans, and I believe that gives a major characterization of a great dedication. Wow, that could be a rap. Characterization for great dedication. Yo show, faux and so forth. To radio and the shows you make. So here's to you, TotalBiscuit. You are a Brit. There is no soft side of your opinions. Yes, it is, but you certainly won't hear it. We know that you have a soft side for your wife and son, and I think you're a brave man who can handle it. We love you for your opinions and for your humour. Yeah, okay, that's getting a little bit soppy now. Best of luck from Jinx of Outland and Princess Jinx of Outland EU. Dear TB, I don't hate you really, just need to let you know that my favourite moment from WoW Radio was the Badge Please show and the part of the intro where the best line in the history of WoW Radio spewed from my laptop. The casuals complained, so they nerfed the weather. Yeah. I like that as well. I don't think I still have it, actually. No, it's not on my playlist, otherwise I'd happily play it for you. Yes, that was fun. I like doing that. He says he laughed until he cried. I sent the MP3 of the show to a fellow guildie, Kick Schumann, and was sat talking to him on vent when he started to listen to it. Literally a few minutes later, there was a very strange sound coming from vent, followed by a shout of OFFS, Dr. Teeth, you bastard. At the casuals complained moment, he was taking a drink of ice-cold Red Bull and vodka. He apparently sprayed Red Bull and alcohol out of his nose all over the monitor and keyboard. Good times. Without wanting to sound like a fanboy, I am a fanboy. Congrats on all you have achieved over the years, and see you on Cynical Brit. That's from Dr. Teeth. Well, thank you, Mr. Teeth. With the teeth. Hello, TotalBiscuit. This is from Archeon of Rixor US, writing in to say that you are my I'm losing it, fellows. It's the last show, and I'm not even concentrating. Writing to say that my favourite moment on WoW Radio was when I found it. It's honestly changed my life for the better. Now let's pretend I made a giant wall of text for you to read instead of this petty email. Alternatively, Return of Gwenora to casually hardcore would be a close second for my favourite moment on WoW Radio. Hey TB, I hate you! Thanks so much for your show. My favourite moment of the show was when you did an Irish jig. When the hell did I do an Irish jig? When did that happen? Was I drunk? That was one of those mystery Blue Plz's that I never remember. Thanks very much for the great show and have a great future. That's from Connor Lang. In the mountains?
In the mountains.
Okay. So he says. He claims to be in the mountains. I wonder if it's cold up there. Ashbringer the Musical! That was my best memory I have of WoW radio shows. Also, The Bird is the Word and Chuck Norris was the first to know. That's from Fizban of Agile Narub EU. Favourite WoW radio mode has got to be the Esports Empire Gnome Tard episode. That's from Lance DH. Hey TV, far too many good memories to mention from all our shows during all the shows I've listened, so I'll do a bit of a cop-out and say my favourite WoW Radio moments have come from actually meeting the guys involved with the station. Between BlizzCons and Game Fests, I've had the best time ever thanks to listening to WoW Radio and meeting the awesome folks involved, so thanks very much. And well, luck isn't needed to anyone on the station because they're all very talented, so I'll just say, keep on trucking and have fun. Anyway, I'll listen to you next week at your new home, cynicalbird.com. That is from Stormtamer. And he's in the IRC channel right now, and I'd like everyone to give a giant round of applause, in fact, to Stormtamer. And you want to know why? Because he's soldiered on, and he's been doing this whole monkey thing for ages. We call them monkeys. They're really IRC reps, and to be honest, I think he deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, from everyone on the channel. Yes, clap, clap, and clap again. It's very exciting. Stormtamer, he is a legend. Best WoW Radio moment, dear puny imbecile. My favourite WC Radio moment was the show you did with Ariana around October, if I remember correctly, when you went coughing all over and Ariana covered for you. By far my favourite show you've ever made. That's from Dayster. Well, thanks, Dayster. You really loved the show I was choking to death. ATB, Titan was the first show I listened to on WoW Radio. Back then, I was a moronic teenager. Now, I'm a moronic 20-something. Can I get a shout-out for my guild cruel addiction on Bronzebeard US? That's from Boss Wally. Yes, you can. I'd like to request a shout out to Why So Serious, the raid team on Earthen Ring. That's from Zizu, but he didn't include his favourite WoW Radio moment. So I can assume that his favourite WoW Radio moment was that shout out. Some of my favourite WoW Radio moments: the quickening on Emperor's Court, first finding WoW Radio and somehow coming across Blue Plz, Hotel and Hordak's first rantathon, Total and Biscuit Against the Planet. I don't know why, that was a terrible show. And the various shows getting me through the times that I felt depressed or stressed. Thanks for all you do, TBC with Cynical Brit. That is from JJ. And we'll do one more of these and then we'll do some shout-outs, folks. Hey, that one guy I hate. My favourite WoW Radio moment has to be the end of Octel and Hordak's Rantathon 2008, when everyone changed the end of their names to Cthulhu for no apparent reason. Ah, yes. Well, we're bringing it rapidly to a close, folks. I'm going to do a couple of minutes of shout-outs, then I'm going to unleash the horror upon you. Or try to, at any rate. Shout-outs, send them in to themurloc@gmail.com. Alternatively, tweet me on IRC. Tweet me on IRC. Wow, that would be pretty impressive. Or send me an IRC message over Twitter. That would be a really good example. What am I doing? At TotalBiscuit. On tweet, on twit, on twat, on twatter. Whatever you want. I don't care. Shout out to me for falling on the ice outside and breaking my jaw, from Chris in Danelad. What? Do you want a round of applause? I think I can muscle that up. Big shout out to you for all the effort you've put in over the years to give me the awesome start to every weekend. Thanks. See you on Cynical Brit. That's from Steves and Cadgar. Can I get a shout out to my dad for the bottle of Russian Standard he gave me for Christmas a while back, and I've been saving for occasions such as this. That is from Criken Zero. Of course, I do not encourage drinking. No. My favourite moment was when we raided in Arcanist Belt, and a shout out to Poon on Chromagus EU. Yes, absolutely. Dear Most Dreadful TB, although you are effing crazy... Oh, screw it, it's the last show. Swearing incoming. Although you are fucking crazy, your show over the last few years tops many things I hear on my car radio. You are the WoW's Howard Stern. My favourite moments of WoW radio are so many that if I was to tell you 1,000 years would have gone by. I don't think they would, but whatever. Unless you talk really slowly, perhaps you're an L-core. However, I do like the BlizzCon coverage. WoW Idle and Pug, may your arrogant, cynical dreams come crashing down, but as far as your radio shows, keep them coming. I won't be going anywhere. There's a fine line between the two, very fine. Hell no, there isn't. From Italy with love and hate, that's from Lita O'Cola. Can I get a shout out to... No, I'm not going to do that, because that's... No, absolutely not. But I will give a shout out to Nymph's friend, who keeps me updated on anime and manga stuff. Anime. Okay, 'tis a big shoot-toot for ye oldie TotalBiscuit. Hail to the great TotalBiscuit. Glorious shall be a cynical witness. Greetings from the deranged Dutchman who thinks he's a Scot. My Scottish accent's not very good. Hey TB, can you get a shout out to the Craig for being an epic mentor, and a harshly worded warning to Eric for moving server once again. Thanks from Stevie. Shout out to Darkened on EU Burning Steps, especially Cookshiman, the Up Mage from Duckteeth level 80 Warlock. And shout out to Kiki Jiki for being epic. That's from some random guy in the channel I don't know. There you go. I'd like a shout out to Dark with the Skies at Mazigo EU. I hope your future bodes well for many boss kills for you guys, even though I've left you guys to play WoW with IRL college mates. Also, epic. Okay. That's the wrong drop-in, ladies and gentlemen. From Kazi, now on Dragonmore. He abandoned us. How dare he? Couple more. Shout out to me for tuning into the stress test on your new servers. Good luck and good show on cynicalbrit.com. That is from Chris Trudgeon. And a shout out to myself for continuing to get no sleep whatsoever because of Mass Effect 2 and your goddamn blasted show. I don't get to play Mass Effect 2 right now because I'm doing that goddamn blasted show. And last but by no means least, a shout out to the Murloc and the Soviet Murloc. That is from Nirgana. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the last episode of Blue Plz Season 3 on WCRadio.com. You will see me next week. Same time, same place, different channel. # Cynical Brit on irc.quakenet.org. We'll probably still be hanging around on WC Radio as well, whatever. And you'll be able to tune in via the website over on cynicalbrit.com. I would strongly suggest you go and have a look there. We're launching officially on the 1st, so there's still some changes to be made, so no whining about the state of the forums. That'll all be sorted out by the 1st. It's been a good time, folks, and we've had a good run, and I'm looking forward to many, many more good runs. And I do hope and wish that everyone, both in the community and in staff, both present and past, does very well indeed in their futures and realizes their dreams. Certainly hoping so. So, I said I'd do something a little special. I'll give it a try. This is going to take a bit of effort. So I'm going over here. I'm going to turn this down ever so slightly. There we go. Okay. Fade this out. It's live nonsense, folks. Feedback. We can fix that. There we go. Aha. There we go. Yes, folks. You heard it. Live tribute. This is the greatest and best raid in the world. Tribute run. A long time ago, me and my brother's guild here, we was corpse running through a long and lonesome zone, when all of a sudden, there shined a shiny Kazakh in the middle of the zone, and he said, kill the best boss in the world, or I'll eat your loot. Well, me and my guildies, we looked at each other, and we each said, okay, when we raided the first thing that came to our heads, and it just so happened to be the best boss in the world. It was the best boss in the world. I look at our group, and it's easy to see they are all resto, everyone's a tree, they will heal me. We got about 1 million damage to go. See our boom can spam and the moonfire glow, though our mana is low. Needless to say, the beast was stunned. What rang when the thunderclap? And Lord Kazakh was done. He asked us, be you raiders? And we said nay. We are but nuts. Walk. Yeah. This is not the greatest boss in the world. No. This is just a tribute run. I wasn't attuned for the greatest show in the world. No, this is tribute run to the greatest show in the world. No, right? That was the greatest show in the world. All right. No, seriously, it wasn't the best boss in the world. It really wasn't. Who? Schliggity boo? Schliggity boo? What? ad drop-ins. Yeah! And the peculiar thing is this, my friends, the show we did on this fateful night, it didn't even sound anything like Howard Stern. This is just a tribute show, you gotta believe me, and I wish you were there. Just a matter of opinion. Fuck. Good God, I can't love it. So surprised to find you can't stop me now. I'm on fire. I'm in a 5-man. What? I was tricked! This isn't a real radio station at all! They told me there'd be hookers! Blackjack! Actually, you know what? Screw the blackjack. My name's been TotalBiscuit. This has been a disaster! Good night! You have been listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz, WoW's #1 shock jock show, only on cynicalbrit.com. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to leave a comment on the Cynical Brit website or write a review of the show on iTunes.